Alright, there is a completed frame rail. So see I dovetailed the end here. The cross member at the back is only 3 inches. So I just cut a pie out of there, clamped it together, welded it back up, ground her down, good to go. So that one's ready to install. Well, I gotta cap these ends first. I'm gonna make some pieces that go just inside of that, make them kind of nice flush. I got, what, 4 of them to make, so that'll be just a little bit of a pain, but not too bad. I got a piece of sheet steel and just plasma cutter some strips and then cut them and kind of grind them to fit. And yeah, there's one completely done, and this one's pretty close. I still have to fit the leg, this leg right here, on this side. Wasn't sure if it was going to be exactly the same size as that one, so I left it a little long right there so I can custom fit it. Look at all the metal. Wee bit of cutting I've been doing. There's the rear end again, all nice. Got her ground down kind of smooth. Although this side is done, I'm probably gonna just put a bead around there or TIG weld to match this side. And then I ordered a truss. I was gonna try and make it, but for 70 bucks, it's already a done deal. So like a rear truss is gonna go on here. So that's why I'm leaving the bar in there until I weld that on. One frame rail is installed. So I got it all capped off. nice. All the ends are done. It's turned out real nice. Got a little bit of an edge to weld up, make it all strong. It's perfectly flush on top. And perfectly flush on top. Got a tiny little edge that I can knock off and weld, but and then boom. So once I get that welded, then these guys come out, and then I got to get this fender well out of the way, and I can stuff a tire up in there. And I got the other one. Got to finish this side. Yeah, looks good. All right, so this is what I'm doing with the front brackets. I already lopped them off, took the top 3 holes off, and then I'm going to notch this out. A little line right there. That's the size of that 4x4. So that's getting attached to this guy. Right about there. Figured I'd put those on first since that's pretty much where they have to go. So we'll notch it around there, that way I can weld it all the way, 3 sides. It's going to be super strong. So I'm just chuck this up in my mill and drill a hole through all 4 of those at the same time. That way I know that they're absolutely identical. I put these 5/8 shoulder bolts in there to line the holes up. And then I'll go back and cut these out, probably with a cut-off wheel or something. I could mill them since it's already in there and it's square, but and milling those just takes forever when I could just, doesn't have to be that accurate. I could have done them by hand, each one with a hand drill, if that's the option for you, or I do have a regular drill press. Could have done it in there. So I don't know. There's different ways to do this. You don't have to have all these fancy tools, but it's nice though, and it helps. So we will continue with the fabrication. Well, cut those all out with the cut-off disc, and they were okay, but not perfect. So I'm just milling the rest of it. See, there's a little edge right there that didn't quite get cut straight. So if you have a mill, you might as well use it, right? So this just guarantees that they're all perfect. tiny little edge that didn't get cut here. Go in, cut those edges. There we go. And there's a tiny little edge that didn't get cut over there. And there's just a little bit that didn't get cut, but that's okay. This will be nice. All right, there's my bracket. All mocked up. I used some different bolts. You don't want to use the hardware that it came with. These nylocks, once you run them down in there, they cut threads in there. They're not quite as tight as they were originally. So if you undo those couple, 2-3 times, they're really not much of a lock nut anymore. So I just used some spare hardware I had laying around. Put a little piece of cardboard in between here just to act as a slight shim spacer. When these get welded on here, they're actually gonna try and pull themselves apart anyway, so probably don't need it, but yeah, they fit pretty good. Got a little gap in there, and I did that on purpose just so I have something to fill and weld around in there, but it looks like it fits pretty nice. So we'll get all that welded up, and then I may go back and box this in and just create some gussets. If anything, it'll at least look nice. So I'll run some measurements on that, get that figured out, lay some beads on there, and get the other side done. That'll get pretty quick, and then we'll have to start moving on the rear end piece. This was definitely a full day's worth of work, but I think we're pretty good. It's just kind of mocked up, nothing's level yet. But as you can see, I got the brackets coped around the main bar here, so I'll get welded up real nice. And I do have to notch the floor out some more, because those are totally going to hit. And the rear end's actually kicked down just a tiny bit. And it's also, car's a little bit higher than it's going to be. This top of this tube is going to ride right about level with this, so it still needs to drop down a couple inches, but it's already hitting the floor right here. So it's just all loosely together. See, it's not even gapped out where it's supposed to be, but I mean, that's kind of close, but it's in. A lot of work notching these brackets out. Got a couple little gaps there, but that looks okay. We'll weld up. I think what I'm going to do when I weld it up is actually make some spacers to fit in these holes to keep this perfectly straight so it doesn't tweak on me. But this is for a bar that goes through, and these are for wheelie bars. So those tabs will probably come off. Don't really need those, and I have to figure out some shocks. So I might cut this off right here and then kind of incorporate this to make some shock mounts. But we'll see where the shocks end up going. That is another day. I'm happy with today's work. Turned out pretty good. Saturday morning, the sun is out. The birds are chirping. It's going to be a beautiful day. Lots of work today, lots of welding actually. So I'm gonna get all this stuff welded up. It's already mocked together, and I put the rear end in and it looks like it fits pretty good. So I took some scrap steel that I had, turned these bushings right here. 750 thousandths, which is 3/4 of an inch. That's what these heim joints are. It's a 3/4 inch heim joint with the shank, but it's a 5/8 hole in the middle. They make different size holes, but the shank 3/4 inch usually means that the width is 3/4 inch. So I actually turned these about 20 thousandths bigger. So these are 770 thousandths instead of 750 thousandths. And I'm just going to switch those around. I didn't want to make 8 of those, so I'll just pull them out, switch them over here. So when I mocked it up, I put a little piece of cardboard in there just to give me some spacing, and that worked pretty good. They slid right out. But with an extra 20 thousandths in there, it's guaranteed to fit nice. You can see it slides right in there, and it'll definitely be able to squeeze that. It's a big bolt, so it'll squeeze it, make it tight. So get those welded on, and then got to get these bad boys welded on. Did the mock-up yesterday. That took forever. They're all sitting where they need to sit, so I'll weld those together. And same thing, I'll just put those bushings in, weld that up, and then once that's all welded, then I have to fit this, which is already pretty close, but I need to notch it out, figure out what kind of bracing I'm going to put on these, get that welded up, and keep on working. I did put my 4-link bars together this morning. Just put a little weld. Yep, not too bad. If your hand starts to smoke, then you know it's still a little hot. So I TIG welded these. I drilled a hole, did a hole all the way through, and plug welded that, and then TIG welded the ends of it. So I got some nice penetration in there, and some of the beads are okay. I'm happy with that. It's good enough for this guy. He's not going to drive this thing very fast anyway. He's scared. But yeah, these are nice. Chrome moly. Got the little adjustment hex on one end. Obviously one's left and one's right. And when you screw these in and out, it's going to be able to separate or contract that. So we'll have plenty of adjustment on the rear end. So that's where we're at today. Lots of fab, lots of welding. And then I still have to do a wishbone on this rear end after I get all this mocked up, and shock mounts. So I think I mentioned already, I think I'm gonna just cut these here and drill some holes for the shock mounts, but I don't know, we'll see. Stay tuned. Well, boys, it's in-ish. Got the brackets all welded up. Turned out pretty good. The spacer little idea worked out perfect. These things slid right in, and there'll be plenty of crush on there. These were wheelie bar bolts, and what I did was there was an extra tab on here that was for a bar that goes across there, and I cut all those off and drilled holes. So I'm going to make a really cool little shock bracket that's adjustable. But yeah, it fits and it's in. And the pinion angle right now looks decent. It's straight. I haven't measured it yet, but yeah, you can just turn these bars and you can change that wherever you want. You gotta figure out what the final ride height's gonna be. This bar right here should be level, so I could drop it down and go back up, but like I said, I gotta figure out where the final ride height's gonna be and all that stuff. It's pretty close right now, but I'm gonna have to tweak these bars a little bit. But yeah, I'm totally stoked. Fits really well. Hits right here, so I'm gonna have to cut the floor to notch it out. Put a little channel over that. And eventually I'm gonna figure out what to do with this. Thought about just cutting it off and then putting some diagonal braces over here, or I could cut this piece out and take this piece and stick it on the bottom, but it's gonna hang down too far. Maybe a 2-inch, something kind of thick I can go all the way across. I don't know, there's lots of things to do, but I want to figure out where the drive shaft's gonna sit, but I think it looks pretty good. Oh, there's a nice little weld right there. Pretty stoked. I still have to fit that rear truss on there, but I wanted to figure out where everything else is going first. So that's where we're at. Keep moving forward. End of my Saturday. I think I did pretty good. Tubes are all, brackets are all welded up, front and back. Haven't decided what kind of bracing I'm going to do, if anything. I still have to put the truss on here, so that's gonna kind of reinforce this a little bit. But it's pretty thick stuff and it's welded really well, so I don't know. We'll figure it out, but made these. It's kind of cool. Adjustable shock mounts or shock brackets. So I can adjust the ride height up and down. It's got 5 holes on this one, 4 holes on that one, so it's got a little adjustability. And then up here across that, we're gonna put a brace across there for the top of the shock mounts. I'll probably go back just a tiny bit just to give me an extra little clearance on here, which I don't think I'll need, but might as well. I'm doing this kind of fabrication if you don't have all the parts, kind of pain in the butt, but I'm pretty sure the the springs are just as round as this, so actually this will sit up a little bit, so I think I'll be good. But it's all hanging in there. I like it. It was a good Saturday. A lot of work. I left that in there until I get the truss on there. Then I can take that off. As soon as I get my springs and upper shock mounts, this thing's going to support its own weight. And of course I have to get the right axles in there and then put these bad boys on. Still got to cap this, like a little piece around here. Cap that nice. Cap that one up nice. So, plenty of work to do. But this looks cool. Got some nice shocks on there. Yeah, Saturday, I'm done. That was a lot. All right, so that was the end of part 2. Thanks for joining me on this little venture. I'm not sure how many more parts there will be, but there's definitely some more work. I think I have about 40 hours in this thing already. Trying to reduce that into a couple 20-minute videos is kind of hard to do because there's a lot to see. But it's turned out really well. Everything seems to be fitting really good, so thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. I'm really trying to grow this channel and build some viewers on there. So I would appreciate the help. Ring that bell if you want to get notified on the next video, and hang tight for part 3.